My family has already fallen in love with this city.
Welcome to Calgary. I'm Cheryl and my husband Matt is behind the camera. We're going to be spending a day and a half in Calgary. This city was voted the cleanest city, and it has museums, walkways, art, all sorts of cool things, and we're just going to see what we can get done and our favorite things in Calgary.
So we started our first day in Waterton Lakes National Park, the Canadian side of Glacier, where we enjoyed the beautiful mountains and views from the Prince of Wales Hotel. This was our second time here, and we liked this little underrated park even better the second time. From Waterton, we drove to Calgary on the Cowboy Trail, a nice little drive through the countryside with views of the Rockies. Alberta was essentially the Old West of Canada, and today, Calgary is still known as Cowtown, something we'll explore more later. Our first stop in Calgary is the interesting Peace Bridge, often called the Finger Trap.
We started off this morning at the Waterton Glacier International Peace Park, and now we've driven to Calgary, and this is the Peace Bridge. It's like the little theme of the day. Now, I'm not sure the whole purpose of this Peace Bridge, but it was built in 2012, and it cost about $25 million, so this wasn't cheap, and already it is under construction again. But it is very cool, and it's a nice way to just connect the city. There's actually a few other bridges that cross the river into the city. Across this bridge is one of the most amazing walkways along a river you will ever see.
Okay, we figured out Canadian geese are a lot nicer when they're in their homeland. We like the Bow River Pathway Bridge more than the Peace Bridge. Both cross the beautiful and turquoise Bow River, which originates in Banff National Park. We've found that the most enjoyable way to see a city for us is to get on some wheels. We'll do an e-bike tour in Edmonton later on this trip, but for now we're doing scooters in Calgary. Calgary is famous for its yearly Calgary Stampede, the largest rodeo in the world. But although it's called Cowtown, it's consistently ranked among the cleanest cities in the world. We found it bizarrely clean for a big city. I've never seen a city so clean.
My family has already fallen in love with this city. This here is like a huge pathway system that goes along the river. This river parkway system here was so gorgeous. We went to a little place called Prince's Island Park. Oh my gosh, the flowers, the grass, the greenery. There's no smells. There's no like city smells that you get when you go downtown in a lot of these cities. Man, we just loved it. We had a picnic here. Some street performers were playing music and all that. The weather is just amazing. It's cool, it's breezy, it's clean, it's green, the people are happy.
The thing to do in Canada is get your Tim Hortons in the morning. All right, Timbits are the thing here. These are not donut holes, these are Timbits.
We're just starting our day in Calgary, and we're starting off with something so cool. Calgary actually hosted the Olympics, the winter sports, in 1988. So we're at their Olympic Park, and they have this new thing, downhill karting. I think it's kind of like a go-kart / mountain coaster thing, I'm not sure, but I cannot wait to try it.
Downhill karting is kind of like the alpine slides that are so common in mountain towns, only better.
I feel the need for speed.
The three-wheeled cart is powered only by gravity, so you can go up to as fast as gravity allows. Because it's not on a single track, you can actually race others. I kept trying to pass my daughter, but as you can see, she was a speedster.
We've never done anything like this before. I've never even heard of anywhere having something like this. This was really special because it was a mixture between go-karting and an alpine slide. We got a family pass, and it was about $25 for each of us to go down this 3 times, and you're engaged the whole time. You get to ride a chairlift up to the top of the mountain, so you're getting to see some really pretty views of Calgary, and then the fun starts when you get to the top. You get on this little go-kart, and it is easy to drive. It's just forward to go, back to stop, and Even 6-year-olds can drive these by themselves. It was great fun, and it's a long course, and you can get going pretty fast.
Okay, so was it everything you thought it would be or hoped it would be?
Yes. The other thing I was going to say is that it only took about an hour and 15 minutes for us to go down 3 times. It was a perfect way to spend the morning. We loved it. My only tip was maybe bring a jacket and come early before the lines come.
I'm not sure how many miles per hour we were going, but it was fast enough to be fun and to cause me to think twice about rounding those corners full blast. I'm glad we did 3 rides. It took me 1 to get comfortable, 1 to go as fast as possible, and then I just enjoyed the last ride. The Saddledome was another venue built for the 1988 Olympics. I like touring stadiums, and this was great for a few reasons. First, it was free. Second, I learned that although it resembled a cowboy's saddle, that was not the intent. It was designed after the Scandinavium Arena in Sweden, but to the horror of the creators, the citizens of Cowtown named it the Saddledome, even though it was, quote, neither Western nor a dome. The roof actually floats on top, allowing it to shrink and expand with the insane temperature changes here, which is cool. But many have questioned the wisdom of building a concave roof in a city that gets so much snow. Finally, we loved our tour guide because he was so passionate about the stadium, the Calgary Flames, and the Canadian hockey team, which trains here. He showed us the locker room, calling it the most winning locker room in the world. And to be fair, Hockey Canada is the most decorated national hockey team. He explained that the locker room has no trophies or medals in it because Canadians are so humble. Like the most humble people in the world. Our kids couldn't stop joking about the extreme humility of Canadians the rest of the trip. The city of Edmonton is the bitter rival of Calgary, and when we told our friends from Edmonton that our tour guide explained that the Saddledome is, quote, the heartbeat of hockey, they threatened a class action lawsuit against the Calgary Flames.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. All right. Woo-hoo. Look at this. How fun. We're on our way to go visit the Calgary Tower to get a good view of the city, but we were pretty hungry, and so we found this Palomino's Smokehouse Pub. We just got this amazing platter of barbecue. We've got like bacon-wrapped corn, coleslaw, ribs, pickle bits, smoked apples, but I think our kids' favorite thing about this is it's called the Fat Ass Platter, which they never get to swear, but if that's the name on the menu, they are ordering their food with pride and getting to use some colorful language they never get to use at home. This was built in the 1960s, and this is like the Stratosphere or the Strat of Vegas. It's a great big tower. But the thing is about the one in Calgary is that the surrounding skyscrapers by it are taller than it. So I'm keeping my expectations pretty low.
So this is taller than the Seattle Tower. I have my expectations tempered, but I do think this is going to be kind of cool.
Like I said, made in the 60s, they're still issuing the legit tickets.
I think that makes it cooler, personally.
I think so too. And you know, I learned something cool about the Olympics that also happened. The torch for those Olympics looked like the Calgary Tower.
Yes, it did. We learned that on our tour of the Flames Stadium.
Yeah.
What'd you find out?
Well, I found out that they actually turned this into a torch from time to time, including when they had the Olympics. Here's a picture, and they'll light that for like 24 hours at a time, a great big fire on top of this. That would make me nervous if this was on fire. You ready for my verdict on the Calgary Tower? If I were to say it's a must-see between a not worth your time, I'd say it's right in the middle. It's nice to see if you can, and let me tell you why. First of all, I was a little scared about this being shorter than some of the skyscrapers around it, but I actually thought it was super cool that we were eye to eye with those skyscrapers. I loved that. I also loved seeing the roofs of the surrounding buildings. This Utah girl, most of our buildings are not very tall, and so this is kind of a special treat for me, and I love seeing what people do with the roofs of their buildings. They'll write their names on them, they'll have gardens. That's pretty interesting. We've been on a few of these tall things like in Vegas and in Rome and in Washington, D.C. I would say this is kind of in the middle of those. I thought Rome and D.C. were much cooler views than this, but this is still really cool. Next up is Stevens Avenue. This is a pedestrian-only street right in the middle of Calgary that has some boutique shops, some fun restaurants, and it's just kind of a little hangout where you can people watch, mosey around. And in fact, we've been in Calgary for about a day and a half, and we've been able to see a lot of it on foot, whether we're walking along the river or getting scooters. There's just a lot of the city that you can see without driving around in your car, and it's really a nice pedestrian town. Beautiful art, beautiful flowers, and it feels quite safe to walk around. Just a nice, clean city.
As Cheryl mentioned earlier, we are visiting Calgary on our way to Banff National Park in Canada. A lot of people fly into Calgary. This is the jumping off point to visit Banff. So we wanted to spend a day and a half here and see what the city was like. I'm glad we did. This was a really enjoyable part of our vacation. We're so looking forward to Banff tomorrow. It's going to be awesome. If you are visiting Calgary or Banff National Park, make sure to check out our playlist for many more videos that'll help you get prepared and excited for your trip. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, go west, young traveler.